want to say thank you to all of our guests. So we're going to move on to our last session for the day. It's going to be about 20 minutes until we can no longer talk anymore. And we're going to talk about Citca and how Citca and SelectChicago work together. And so sitting to my left, I have Ginta Rubin, who is the Executive Director of Citca. So Ginta, why don't you introduce yourself and talk about a little bit about Citca.
Of course. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for having me here. And this is an amazing program with Elk Grove Village and Country of Phillips, which is an incredible member of Citca, which stands for Chicago International Trade Commissioners Association, one of a kind in the United States, representing over 55 members, but overall over 170 countries located offices in here, greater Chicago area. Michael, this is an amazing program, and I'm pleased to be here in this incredible campus hub, a logistics campus hub here in the greater Chicago area, because I do want to talk to what we have been working during pandemic year 2020 and what we have been doing behind the scenes, and you and I helping not only companies to expand and do better during these tough times, but also different countries to continue future themselves and inform of what's new and upcoming and the great projects they bring it in. I ecstatic that Philippines has such a strong footing here in the United States. We often hear about the larger countries such as China, and we have Germany, and we have Netherlands and Belgium setting up. Japan, it's pretty set up here well in Elk Grove, larger Elk Grove area, Schaumburg area. It seems like clustering here. But glad to see that the smaller countries like Philippines and Taiwan setting here home for the incoming imports for the United States, but also companies out of here, United States, doing exports to Philippines and working together, collaboration with the countries. So I do want to talk to you a little bit about what Citca is doing and why we're doing with SelectChicago instead of just going on our own. So what I found throughout the years, working with different associations, be that Illinois Chambers of Commerce or Chicagoland Chambers of Commerce or any other economic development agencies, we are stronger together. That's no doubt for anybody. Where 2 or 3 people meet, the great things come out of it. I think we all have that experience from childhood growing up into our adult lives. So the same way with Michael, we met several years ago and we started the program featuring certain regions, certain municipalities, certain companies, or even towns here throughout Chicago to the larger international community. And especially in the last year when no one could travel or want to in that matter, they needed somebody here on the ground to take the ranks of introductions and continuous business, continued communication, and trade commissioners and consulates really took that brunt of the work that usually business people do travel and have meetings personally themselves. So we figured that instead of going into communities physically, we ended up doing webinars that are still featuring of what things to come, having information awareness of what things to look out for, consulting the companies how could take smart ways to enter United States. And Michael, SelectChicago has been the hub for anything and everything from the start, because anybody reaches out to myself or any trade commissioners, how do I in an efficient way to land myself here and where and how, you seem to be at least on everybody's front mind to start and being recommended, well, you should talk to Michael first. So give me a little bit overview, how do you do it and how did you become so smart?
Well, thank you very much for the kind words, Ginta. This SelectChicago is a second order of a larger not-for-profit called Greater Waukegan, or GWDC, which started in Waukegan in 2012. And how we started growing was in the original name with GWDC had coalition in its name. So we're really a partnering organization. We have a lean staff. It's very entrepreneurial driven. And as we add more and more programs, it's centered about bringing businesses in economically challenged communities. And as we've grown, we've now started looking at the entire Midwest region as a way of bringing in new capital, new investment here. But as we found, the best way to help somebody get the best thing we have found in helping somebody get what you want is to help them get what they want. And so having bilateral foreign direct investment became a really great program of stepping up and showing up at their different programs in their different areas and helping them. And we've had a great success rate of working with companies that are actually now doing soft landings. This year, we are now working with 3 different companies, one of which just went back to their home country. We really can't talk too much about it out loud, but it's about a $12 million investment into the region. We've also helped introduce them to 3 different companies that they could acquire to help them expand quickly. Another company is looking just for some warm introductions and getting their group together. Thirdly, on one of the other pieces that we have capabilities of is there's an international company looking to do some large 250-acre development within the greater Chicago region, and so we've been introducing them to different EDOs. And one of the things that all of what we found is all of this takes time. I mean, I think what we forget about is that a deal well formed, like here today in Elk Grove Village, we had Kevin and Josh talk about from the day they started really assembling property and meeting with the city, it was 2 years before they were turning dirt. And now they're occupied and it's a beautiful 80-acre campus. Well, in different areas, that time horizon may become 3 to 5 years. So we were talking with a different Select Chicago community earlier this week, and we know that with the entitlements and the processes that are going to come in, it might be a year and a half just getting the nods from the different organizations that need to allow that project to go forward. And then probably another year after that. And so by meeting and setting realistic expectations, we have some larger projects that help things come along, but at the same time, that doesn't mean you can stop. That means you always have to be out meeting with different trade commissioners, consulates, different communities, different global investors, and always being available to take a call. I can't tell you how many times I'll get an email late on a Friday afternoon and I'll just say, hey, it's great to meet you. Look forward to talking to you next week. But that leaves them with a real happy feeling going into the weekend that somebody reached out and that they were heard. I think some of the great success that we have with Citca is that we have been working together. I mean, Ginta, you got to star in about 3 or 4 different presentations last fall, and it was great. You've been wonderful bringing in different resources. So why don't you talk about some of the things that you did last year? Talk about boots on the ground and then talk about USMCA.
So one of the beauties of Citca and having great partnership as yourself, we have a great platform to feature many different countries, but also give a great webinars or sometimes in small groups presentations of proven practices of what is good for the companies and what is good for the countries. Citca, as probably you know, is not a nonprofit organization as well, so we're not there to collect someone's hard-earned dollars. We genuinely there to help for them to be better of where they are. And what we've done last year is few of the programs with the different companies. Boots on the Ground is one of them, done in August, and it's telling truly what most of the trade commissioners found it that you do have to be present. And you have to be present physically and mentally of where you are to help someone to expand. The lack of traveling, it created this invisible wall with the digital presence. And I probably speak more for everybody. We all want to be in person. We are human beings, and face-to-face meetings is what's going to be luxury, yet I think truly necessary to close that $1 million deal, where it might start with the Zoom, as we'll be discussing in the program, it definitely will end up with the handshake. Humans tend to, and we notice with the different cultures, still tend to focus on the one-on-one relationship, and building of that is at most importance for successful project. Some of the programs I also helped trade commissioners. From the feedback we received, some of you not aware that majority of foreign offices, extent of their stay in any office throughout the United States or even throughout the world ranges from 2 to 4 years. They have a specific agenda, they have a specific project, specific people to meet, and they off back into their home countries or another posting somewhere else in the world. And that's not a lot of time. As you mentioned, some of the projects tends to take 2 to 4 years. So if someone started in a one way, not ability to finish the project, it leaves an uneasy feeling, or in some cases, inability to hand it off the project to incoming person. So Citca became this overall bridge and blanket between different trade commissioners and giving continuity for the businesses and offices, that they still feel connected and their projects are being taken care of, and a new incoming person is aware what's going on in terms of ongoing projects. So I've been ecstatic to help many countries to be successful the minute they land here on their post. And ranges from, you name it, the cultural differences, understanding of Chicagoland culture, it might be different from Texas or New York, understanding of current landscaping and attitudes of some businesses, of what expectations are of them. Because when you come from different country, even though you watch movies or you read the books, not necessarily you might have a true picture understanding of you stepping yourself in. So to save someone 6 months to a year of acclimation, we could do that in fairly quick manner. So that's been very successful for us, and definitely we're going to continue that. The other large success of Citca, a collaboration of larger, I want to say 16 states around here, the Chicago area, of state leaders and economic development, which allows personal relationships and much faster introductions for trade commissioners if they need to be introduced in Nebraska or Iowa. We done trip to Nashville, Tennessee, Ohio, and through those larger government officials, we tend to have an easier way to C-suite, to larger companies, to the right people off the bat for personal meetings and introductions. Otherwise, we found that cold calls, it's at the time of 80s, no longer relevant today. People tend to have massive gatekeepers who not always get you to the right person to talk, and lack of some of the language understanding and cultural understanding really prevents for successful implementation of the agenda that they came with this into this country. So the main idea of Citca is to be accommodating, helpful of all the foreign representatives to market themselves, to help their companies to be successful here, as well U.S. companies and business people have information and success abroad. So we've been working together to introducing different regions, which was very exciting to get to know, all the way to Indiana, Michigan City, Indiana. That was an impressive trip with the everything they have going and how they're approaching their economic development, and very open, very communicative, very responsive. That's what I was impressed, how responsive they were in the different angles of the project. I didn't get the feeling, what you hear sometimes, not often, not my job, or too much job, or let me talk to someone, or Bob handles that sector.
More of the, I don't know, but I will find out.
And they do, and they do
and they get back to you.
That's, I think the key was they travel and get back to you, which is often it's a very refreshing surprise and builds a stronger relationship. And therefore, personally, when you see someone working so well, you do want to promote them as well, because you saying, you know, this worked very for me, even though this is, I don't know, hour outside Chicago. It was a little bit an hour.
But and it's kind of more than that too. As in, we've worked within SelectChicago, we've worked with over 80 different municipalities, and it comes into a lot of the time it's hurry up and wait. But with some things just take time. But the majority comes into these municipalities have to be top of mind. For instance, one of the ones we were in the west, not even in the what you would call the suburbs, even the hinterland of Chicago. We had our first meeting with them 3 years ago. But if they weren't still top of mind, getting back to us and being able to give us the information that we need, they're still in the running. We've had different site consultants on to let our municipalities know that sometimes they have 48 hours, 72 hours to respond to an RFP, or they're going somewhere else. And so it's really kind of been a wonderful place to be, to know who is bringing their A game. I know Elk Grove Village brings their A game. I can call Josh, he can get me in to meet with any of the businesses that go on somebody's shopping list at a moment's notice. It's fantastic. Part of the other thing that is excellent about what we're doing with SelectChicago and Citca is it's that one-stop shop for companies that are coming in. A good candidate for companies coming in from overseas, yes, the sales offices, they're going to start up, but really anybody coming across has to have a decent budget to get established and know it's going to take some time. With the one from Eastern Europe, they had a tremendous budget. They knew what they wanted to come out and do. They were focused when they were here. And then we made proper introductions to them for immigration, accounting, transaction law. Also, we went into HR, we went into sites, we went into procurement. These are the different things that we also bring to the table. So it's not just that handoff, and it is great. And Ginta, you bring up a great point when most of these trade commissioners that we have coming in have a 2 to 4 year stint. And what happens is when they go to their new duty station, they're now focused on their new duty station. There's a very little handoff development that happens. I think you're seeing, what, a month maybe sometimes? What are you seeing?
At least a month. They do start slowing down on their work. 4 or 5 months left to their station, and majority of the time, the change time is for them anywhere from June to August. It's amidst of the business here in the United States when everybody's ready to go and moving and buzzing. Next thing you know, trade commissioner you were just talking is no longer there. That's where we stepped in to a little bit of that blanket and Band-Aid, a mini bridge to the next person, doing immediate introductions and up to date of what's going on. But it is interesting that people do want to do business with people they like. And we found that very much so, no matter which country you come from, that stands true. That definitely crosses. Some of the humor does not cross the borders. And we often get the stare blanks or the eyebrows raised. But definitely the human and likings, understanding and respect, that crosses many borders. And we found that great partnerships, it definitely brings the value to everybody, to their portfolios.
Yeah, and companies that are coming in here to the States and trade commissioners coming in, sometimes they don't understand, say, a laid-back style. I mean, I make gaffes all the time. I think my way of botching names over the last 5 years with running this series is now almost is epic. And so for anybody I've maligned their names over the last 5 years, I apologize. But a lot of this, as companies come in, they have to understand how things work here. Sometimes it's very rigid and formal, sometimes it's loose, and depending on which type of the market you're working in. And what we found on working with the entrepreneurs that are wanting to partner and go fast, they're real, what we'd say in the States is loosey-goosey. They're not very much of writing things down. They want to go fast. They want to work on handshakes. and it's really building up some rapport. So it's really meeting those two pieces where you have a formal, mid-level manager who's a division person who's sent out to set up a company here versus working in an entrepreneurial environment. That doesn't necessarily spell a lot of success. Similarly, if you have a very fast and loose company coming in that wants to move, sometimes they'll hit a wall of bureaucracy. And what's great about what between Ginta and I can do with this working together is help mediate some of that problems. I think some of it is thinking about a food exporter that started up, and he basically wanted to go, but then would hit some wall, definitely a lot of bureaucracy, but over a period of a year, he got all of his bureaucracy pieces figured out. Now he can export alcohol around the world. It's really a great success story for us. I think what we're excited about kind of going forward, is now that we're getting, I've now had my second jab. You've had your first?
I have my first and I have my second one in a few weeks, which is exciting. I don't think I've ever been excited this much about vaccine. It is becoming like a badge of honor you've been wearing, and I think most of the people who are eager to travel and eager to go back to the meetings, they're excited to proud to say I'm vaccinated and I'm all good to go. But the safety has always been with us, and this is the reason we were holding off on some of the in-person meetings to have it to safety not only ourselves but everyone around it. But definitely, I would say hand-holding, it was a big part of our work, and sometimes in a diplomatic way. You teach somebody truly invisible hand slap was done as well. I will admit it. I am as probably not as good with the names either, but you should see in the back room two of us practicing to say someone names.
Right.
And they got no digital proof for that available online, just warn you all that. So working together, always a good thing. Respect for all the communities, and I truly believe people mirror what you do and how you say. Both SelectChicago and Citca definitely have been practicing for over years respect to others, and if somebody does, I found we're pretty good diplomatically giving respect back, even though not always we receive that. But I think that's what the key success for this collaboration, that we tend to do what we say we're going to do. We tend to help people who are willing to be helped, and we definitely handhold if it needs to be someone to their success and drag them by their neck if it needs to. But I look forward to future collaboration with you. In May, we're thinking to do Elmhurst and another incredible program coming in, and we will do this back like we did 2019 in person once a month, different communities, and then
I think in Elmhurst we're still capping at about 2025 within the Elmhurst City Hall, and then we have Lake Zurich in June, Arlington Heights in July, and slowly building up amount of people in attendance. And as much as we love our click meeting and our computer gremlins, the big thing is getting more people here and getting the dialogue, because what is sometimes missed, like today, and I apologize for some of the technical problems we had, I would have loved to have really engaging Q&A with every one of our guests. I look forward to working with you all in the future, but when we're here able to be in a room together, face-to-face, knee-to-knee, you're really building rapport, because all of this is about relationships. You can go anywhere, but you want to work with people you know, like, and trust. You want to work in places that meet your bottom line and also help make economic sense and have a best total fit. What's also great about working with 80 different municipalities over the last couple of years is they all have different tools to help fit that percentage basis of what the cost for the real estate is going to be. But also remember that, and we had this earlier today, your physical plant is only 5% of your total business operations and industrial. So you can go anywhere. It comes back into what's going to be that best total fit. We talked to an Australian company that really wanted to be in Oak Brook. They didn't want to be in downtown Chicago. They had a quality of life piece that they wanted to have. When we're in Elmhurst next month, it is all about quality of life. It is outside of Cook County. It's in DuPage County. It's a walkable, transit-oriented development town, and it is has a really vibrant downtown. Their downtown is a main street, and I think they only have 2% vacancies. After, even with the pandemic, they still had been giving a lot of great resources for the folks that are coming in. And so I think how we'll wrap this up today is just, Ginta, I think in the show notes we're going to have how we can get people to Ginta. You can always find her through the feed loop system. And then same thing for me through the virtual event portal. We're definitely looking forward to working with you. We're really excited now that we're getting all the different trade offices are opening up. I know I have meetings with Japan and the Philippines and at least 3 more in the next 4 weeks. So we're excited to get everybody back in face-to-face and knee-to-knee. So again, Ginta, thank you very much for coming out today. And I wanted to thank Elk Grove Village for hosting us in this wonderful Brennan Investment Group office park. It is just a truly fantastic place to build out your buildings. So, and have a great day.